nature of communication. Communication is the process of exchanging information between two or more people. It is a complex and multifaceted process that involves a variety of different factors. One of the key features of communication is that it is a two-way process. This means that both the sender and the receiver of the message are actively involved in the communication process. The sender creates the message and sends it to the receiver, but the receiver must also actively interpret the message and provide feedback to the sender. This feedback is essential for ensuring that the message is understood and that the communication is effective. Another key feature of communication is that it is contextual. This means that the meaning of a message is not fixed, but rather depends on the context in which it is communicated. The context includes factors such as the relationship between the sender and receiver, the setting in which the communication takes place, and the cultural background of the participants. For example, the same words can have different meanings depending on whether they are spoken in a formal or informal setting, or whether they are spoken by a friend or a stranger. Communication is also influenced by nonverbal cues. In addition to the words that are spoken or written, communication is also conveyed through nonverbal cues, such as tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. These nonverbal cues can often be just as important as the verbal message in conveying meaning. For example, a person who says, "I'm fine," with a frown on their face is probably not telling the truth. The nature of communication can be further categorized into three main types. Verbal communication is the use of words to convey meaning. This can be done through speaking, writing, or signing. Nonverbal communication is the use of body language, facial expressions, and other nonverbal cues to convey meaning. Visual communication is the use of images, graphics, and other visual elements to convey meaning. Each type of communication has its own strengths and weaknesses. Verbal communication is often the most efficient way to convey complex information, but it can be difficult to interpret nonverbal cues. Nonverbal communication can be very effective at conveying emotions and creating a connection with the audience, but it can be difficult to control. Visual communication can be very eye-catching and memorable, but it can be difficult to convey complex information. The most effective communication is often a combination of different types of communication. This allows the sender to convey their message in a way that is both efficient and effective. In addition to the three main types of communication, there are also a number of other factors that can influence the nature of communication. These factors include the following: the medium of communication. The medium of communication can have a significant impact on the way that a message is interpreted. For example, a message that is sent in an email may be interpreted differently than a message that is sent in a face-to-face conversation. The culture of the participants can also influence the way that a message is interpreted. For example, a message that is considered to be polite in one culture may be considered to be rude in another culture. The emotional state of the participants can also influence the way that a message is interpreted. For example, a person who is feeling angry may interpret a message differently than a person who is feeling happy. Communication is a complex and multifaceted process that is influenced by a variety of factors. By understanding the nature of communication, we can improve our ability to communicate effectively with others. Here are some additional tips for effective communication. Be clear and concise. Use active listening. Be aware of your nonverbal cues. Adapt your communication style to the audience. Be respectful of the other person's culture. Be aware of your emotional state. Ask for feedback. By following these tips, you can improve your communication skills and build stronger relationships with others.